Hi, friends. We're getting live where we want to be. Give me 1 minute. All right. So I would say a few months ago, I was at a conference and this adorable person walks up to our table, and I had seen her around. I've heard her name. We are in similar circles within chiropractic. And she takes a peppermint stick and she dabs it on her tongue. And I was like, I swear to you, somebody just embodied my mentor, Sue, who is no longer on the planet. And we had this lovely, heartfelt conversation about how beautiful Dr. Sue Brown was, still is. And I just became intrigued by you, Monique. So please share with the Staffless Practice community. Where are you? Who are you? What are you all about?
Yeah, most people know me as Dr. Mo, and I teach and speak all over the world, basically, mostly about chiropractic neuroscience, what I've been taken to calling embodied neuroscience. And really what I do is teach chiropractors what it is that they do with their hands and how to explain it in a way that drives behavior in those that they're serving.
What is chiropractic neuroscience? Can you unpack that for me?
Yeah, I would say, when I think about chiropractic, I look at it from two lenses. A neuroscience lens, which is looking at what's happening with regulation in the nervous system. And anybody listening understands a concept of being regulated or being dysregulated. And then I also think about it in terms of how we disconnect, how we become dysregulated from ourselves, how we separate from our true essence. So neuroscience really tends to focus more on what's happening in the nervous system, which I think as chiropractors, that's our jam.
I guess I hear you say what happens with the Do you think that everybody starts connected and then at some point, like whether it's the ego kicking in or...
I don't know, how far back do you want to go? You want to go to conception, or are we born connected?
Well, I think that's why. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I think we're perfect, right? And we have moments of disconnect from self, from source, that disrupt that create a dysregulation. Are we born connected? That's the true desire.
It doesn't always happen that way.
Well, things happen in our environment, things happen in our bodies, things happen in our mother's body that can, I think, create disconnect, or at least some level of dysregulation that takes us away from perfection.
Right. So what do you say to the chiropractor or the PT or the ND who's like, I'm just here to make people feel better. I don't know about all that neuroscience stuff.
Yeah, I think if that's what sets your heart on fire, is to be a symptom pain-based doc, then do it. There's lots of people in pain, and that's what they're interested in. And I would say there's so much more. And just because you haven't studied it or you don't understand it, it doesn't mean that it's not out there. And we have so much evidence today pointing to the impact that we have as chiropractors on the nervous system, and not just the peripheral nervous system, but the brain, the central nervous system, and cord.
And if somebody is not, or previous to listening to this, was not enthused by the idea of learning more about neuroscience, and they're like, you know what, this actually sounds pretty cool, where do they start? What's the first step on that path? The words you use. Why do you get adjusted?
Yeah, I get adjusted because it allows my body to be more adaptive and my nervous system to function at a high level of coherence. And that allows me for a better expression of life.
How do you know?
Well, I love having objective measures. I love when a chiropractor has a way that can actually assess my nervous system. And there's many, many different objective tools out there, and not all of them are equipment. Some of them are a survey that you do in your office, what's called an objective outcome assessment tool or screen. Number one, objective measures. Number two, you can feel it in your body. You can feel it, right? When the whole world just feels more vibrant, and my ability, my capacity to adapt with challenge feels effortless.
Right. I always say when I need to get adjusted, I feel like my panties are too tight.
I mean, you know, however you want to describe it. I know when I need to get adjusted, when a chiropractor tells me that I need to be adjusted, but I have a sense that I may need to get checked when I'm a little bit more maybe irritable, when I'm not managing stress very well. And so, you know, what I try and do instead of waiting for that is to just get checked regularly so I never get to that place, you know? Yeah.
You know, it's so funny. I always, you know, people say, well, why do you get adjusted? You're a chiropractor. Can't you adjust yourself? And I say, when I get adjusted, I feel like my skin fits. I feel like I'm the way I'm supposed to be. And if I don't get adjusted, if it's been too long for me, I start getting clumsy with my words and my body. And it's like nothing, the ripple isn't flowing correctly. Right. And, yesterday I went to a dermatology appointment just for like a once over because I'm a grown up and that's what I do. Right. And I guess the guy saw on my paperwork that I'm a chiropractor and he said, kind of jokingly, how long have you been in practice? I'm like 26 years, buddy. And he said that he went to chiropractic school.
Oh, wow.
Dermatologist. And I said, that's really cool. So did you practice? And he said he went all the way to boards and then he switched past the dermatology. And I said, well, who's your chiropractor? Out of curiosity.
Yeah.
He doesn't get adjusted. So what gets missed? What is the disconnect there with our profession specifically? How would you answer that?
I mean, that is so multifaceted, right? From whatever this one individual person's experience was, down to what school he went to. Did he have mentors? Mentorship is essential, not just in our profession, but in our lives, period. We need to have somebody who we hold reverence for, who we respect what they think and say, and who we can go to for advice. Who knows why he went off into dermatology? What a bizarre shift. But I would say mentorship is so critical, in whatever that looks like. But find somebody who you hold in high regard, whose opinion you trust more than your own mind sometimes.
Oh, it's such good. It's such good advice. I think I have more mentors than I ever had. There are so many people who I study now who they just have what I want, because most of the time I'm walking around scratching my head like, I don't know I don't know how to do this. Who are your mentors, Dr. Mo?
Well, you know, Sue Brown was a mentor of mine. I met her when I was in chiropractic college, and we would go down to, you know, just outside of Chicago to Essence Quality of Life and get adjusted as often as we could. And so Sue was really important to me. Guy Riekman was a mentor when I was in chiropractic school and even beyond that. And today, you know, there still are so many. Pema Chodron, who's not a personal friend of mine, but somebody who I really helps me get in touch with what's really important when I sometimes get led astray.
It's so huge to have those anchors. I think I want to talk about communication because I love the way that you communicate. I think it is, of what I know about you, it's one of your greatest gifts. What are the most important components of being a great communicator, whether it's communicating with practice members, what we do and why we do it, or communicating with your best friend, you know, why it doesn't work for you to have X, Y, and Z happen on a regular basis?
Yeah, I think if you want to communicate well, the first thing you need is an understanding of whatever it is you're trying to communicate on a really deep level. And if you are a symptom-based pain-only doc, understand that really well, you know? Yeah. And if you're a chiropractor that's really interested in nervous system function and focusing on human potential, then understand that really well. And that's where I think our ability to be certain, I think certainty is so important in our ability to communicate. And I think in chiropractic, we sort of come from having conviction, right? Power that made the body heals the body, maybe so, to certainty. And that certainty only comes with a deep level of understanding. You know, both, I think, whether it's conviction, certainty through conviction or certainty through understanding, I would always choose certainty through understanding. One is more faith-based and one is really more evidence-based. And that allows you to show up in any room and have a conversation where nobody stumps you because you have the evidence behind you. And I think when we can present from understanding rather than just conviction, I think conviction's good, but even a fool can have conviction. Certainty comes from understanding. And that's what allows us to be in any room and never hedge on what we're trying to say. If you have a deep understanding, then you're never going to shy away from objection, conflict. It drives your literacy, because I think that's, I'm going way off path.
It's really well said, though. I get what you're saying. And I think about the person who is in practice and really struggling, and they, all of this is great. It's great to say, it's great to hear, but they have to pay their rent and they have to put food on their table. Yeah. What do you say to that person who is really not sure of anything? Their conviction is, what they're sure of is they need to figure something out. How do they do it? What do they do next?
Yeah, I think it really comes from diving in. The way that I asked an old, it was a therapist of mine, actually. He was this old guy. And I said, how do you sustain a long life? And he said, stay interested. And so I think for young docs, or even docs who have been in practice a long time who are struggling, oftentimes the focus is on the business side of things, right? That we get so wrapped up in the numbers and trying to pay our bills that we forget about the main thing, or we spend too much time away from the main thing, which is really, getting people well, enhancing human potential. And so come back to make the main thing, and dig into something that you're excited about it. For me, that's neuroscience. It's learning all about the nervous system, and I think that's really our path forward as chiropractors. So dig in, get excited about it, focus on the one thing that you can control, which is your ability to turn people on to what it is that you have to offer. And everything else will follow. Isn't that Fred Barge say that? BJ said that? Somebody got attributed to somebody.
Probably both of them.
Maybe.
How do people identify the one thing? How do they know this is the thing that I'm going to lean into? For me, I'm always curious on how to find an opportunity to make somebody laugh. I love lighting people up.
Yeah.
I think I learned that just by being the scapegoat in my family when I was little and I had to make people laugh. And I've just gotten really good at it over the years. So that's always my opportunity, or the deep dive I take on people, is where is the opportunity for joy? And obviously, if we can, success is always about finding ways of taking your default and thriving with it, right? So how do you suggest to people that they find that thing that they're really good at, or that their focal point for practices, to get interested, to get invested?
Yeah. Well, that's really interesting, right? Because what I heard you say was, your question is, how do we find joy? And once we understand what drives our own personal meaning, then only then can we find it. And so I think maybe that has to start from a place of curiosity. And actually, curiosity is the foundation for all creativity. And so if you're unclear on what personally drives you, then get really curious about that. Some personal exploration. Maybe you find a great therapist who wants to help you dive into what drives me, what makes my heart sing. I mean, that's a really hard place to be in if you're unsure. And it's a place that every single human has been in their lifetime. And you just have to find the right people to help you turn the corner to find that thing that does make your heart sing. Again, for me, that's, watching the light come on, seeing people's potential. And I love the evidence that we have with neuroscience. I also love that we don't understand everything, which means there's still so much to explore. It's like, it's not definitive. There's still mystery. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
There's so much. I think more of it is mystery than not,
100% agree.
especially with pediatric and prenatal care. Like, so much of it is like way beyond, Kant, the philosopher would say we don't have the lenses to see it. Like, we don't even, our brains aren't even developed enough to understand the mystery. I remember when I was studying Janine Roth, she teaches, she basically teaches people who are really abnormal with food how to be normal with it. And I had just gone to her like a deep intensive for a weekend, and I was so curious about this new way of being and this new way of eating. And I would go watch thin people eat, because they didn't eat like me. I do everything very fast, right? I want it all yesterday, down, let's go to the next thing. And I would watch people take a bite and put their fork down and chew, and then maybe take a sip, and then maybe wipe their mouth, and then maybe talk to the person there, as opposed to the Jody Dinnerman way, right? And I would see it, and I did a lot of this with Sue too. I would see it, and then I would emulate it. Like, that was a character, that was a result that I wanted. I wanted to understand how to be calm and present with food. That was the bottom line. So when it comes to joy and practice, I can go see the people like yourself who just kind of drip joy. You're joyful. And I think that the people in the circles that we hang out with, there are a lot of lights in those rooms that are they're just happy freaking people.
Yeah.
If we can watch and see how I just listened to Marcus Sheridan did a talk on being a great listener and asking questions based on the last thing that person said. So you say a thing and I respond with, tell me more about what you just said.
Yeah.
If we can learn how to do that with our hands, if we can learn how to do that in our exams, can you imagine, Mo?
Yeah. And I think that's like, so often we're listening to respond, we're listening to react. And my thing always is to just be more curious. If we can be more curious, it's actually what drives growth, right? When there is curiosity, we have attention that drives, really, that's what drives neuroplasticity, right? Attention, salience is what drives growth. Yeah, I mean, that's
what's
the essence.
neuroplasticity? Can you unpack that?
Yeah, neuroplasticity is essentially the basis of all growth, at least from a nervous system perspective. So your brain is continually responding and adapting to its environment based on what's coming in. And that's what allows you to learn how to ride a bicycle, to write cursive. Hopefully people still do that. But it's what drives all human behavior, cognition, emotion, is literally what's happening with changes in the brain. And it's happening all the time. And it can be adaptive or it can be maladaptive. And so the more, what science tells us is the more creative we are, then that actually turns down a part of the brain that generates stress, the amygdala, the fear response center. So if you're in a state of curiosity, that actually dampens the fight or flight nervous system. And that's a powerful idea, right? So if you can just be curious instead of afraid,
right,
that is a conscious thing that you can do. There's so many ways, right? Everyone's talking about their hacks to regulate. Well, here's an easy hack. Just be more curious than afraid.
And whatever you say that you're afraid of or you don't have, like, I don't have enough time, enough money, enough love.
It's like you just said, what you focus on. Like if you want to study something, you focus on that. Like you talked about, you wanted to learn how to have better eating habits. I don't think that was your wording, but something like that. So you studied people who ate slowly. And literally what you study, what you put your attention on is what your brain deems to be salient or important. And that's what it will grow towards. You know, if we want to study wealth, we don't go and live in poverty. We don't study poverty, right? That goes with anything. Wherever you put, you know, energy flows where attention goes, right? So Yeah, I don't know how we got on
And
that.
it's not just a saying. It's you. If
No,
you
it's
see
not.
red cars, all of a sudden you're going to see red cars all over the highway.
100%. It's the reticular activating system in your brain will pay attention to whatever you tell it to pay attention to. So if you say red cars, you just, you go, you buy a red car, suddenly everywhere you see red cars. It's literally your brain's lens. So if you change your lens, and you can decide whatever you want that to be. And in fact, research shows that that's what you'll start to see. I just read a study the other day, and it's people who are lucky, right? So they did this study, and they were on a golf course, and they gave people a golf ball, and they said, this is a really lucky golf ball. People are having great luck with this golf ball today. Seriously. The people that were told they had a lucky golf ball performed 35% better than the people who didn't. Now, this is the beautiful placebo effect, right? Placebo doesn't mean something's fake. It literally means it has an effect, and it has a positive effect. And we see this. There have been so many studies done on the power of the mind and its ability to generate your reality, because literally your brain is making up your reality all day long. And if you choose the right lens, boy, I guarantee you're going to get that reality.
Right. It's so good. I'm thinking of so many different things while I'm trying to be present with you. There's a woman I work out with, and she's always like this. And I think maybe it's a hearing deficit or something, but she's always like this. And she'll walk up to me. She'll be like, Dr. Jody, why does my neck hurt all the time? Honestly, she has no awareness that she holds her neck like this. And I just take my finger and I say, and I'm like, try that. Practice that like 5 times a day. Snap a rubber band on your wrist and look in the mirror and see if you're doing this. Look at all your photos. And as soon as we bring awareness to that, now that's the thing. So if we can bring awareness to our negative self-statements, like I don't have enough, I am not enough, whatever it is, and replace that statement with a statement of curiosity, like, how can I attract more? How can I, whatever, how can I earn another? Bring curiosity to the statement of negativity. I think we could all use a little bit of that medicine, don't you?
Yeah. And try and not use the negative statement, right? Instead of, I'm not worthy, I'm worthy beyond measure. And people think that's fake it till you make it, but literally it's like you're just changing the lens through the reticular activating system. And the neuroscience is clear on that. If you just, I know I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying it's possible.
It's never the things that really pivot us are, I don't think that they're easy. They're doable and they're possible. I'm not sure that they're easy.
Yeah, no, discomfort,
right,
with whatever it is what actually creates awareness, that attention that's required, that salience part of creating change is necessary. Discomfort is good because it makes you think about that. It brings your attention to it, and that makes your brain respond. And then you just have to put the right programming in to shift it in the direction you want to go.
I always try to not cry when I talk about Sue because I miss her so much. But when I was about to graduate from Sherman, I really had a philosophical problem with the fact that innate is so perfect, universal is so perfect, but we subluxate. Why would we subluxate it if everything was so perfect? And I met Sue, and she explained to me that subluxation is creating chaos in the system so that the system can better understand or better self-regulate and understand, evolve to the next piece, the next expression. And it helped me get this missing piece that was so crucial for my development as a chiropractor. This is my own personal, story within the philosophy. That is the perfect example of having a mentor. I think with the mentorship thing, it's finding people who communicate in a way that you can process. Because I could go listen to Guy Reekman and my brain will feel like it's going to explode. I just can't follow. But then I'll follow somebody like Simon Senzon and I'll listen to him talk for 10 minutes and I'll be like, everything in my freaking world is okay. Right? And they're saying, maybe they're saying the same exact thing in different ways.
And exactly. Sue, I'll just mention, for me, what Sue talked about was subluxation being separation from innate. So when the nervous system gets out of alignment, you have a separation from our innate intelligence, and that separation creates polarity. Polarity creates tension. Tension creates awareness. And that's what drives evolution. And that's literally, if we just took that and plunked it into modern neuroscience today, that's salience. Salience drives attention, which drives neuroplasticity, and that's all of our growth.
Sometimes it really needs to be loud, though, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And go and listen to Sue and Simon and whoever. Listen to all the people, and
Right.
like just like you said, find a mentor that
Right.
you're like, wow, I can listen to them forever. And someone who maybe you want to emulate, or you who at least respect, and you think, I'd love to be able to communicate to that kind of level.
Right.
Yeah.
Or even, you know, it's not always the communication piece too. It's also like, let me watch the way this person moves through the world.
Yeah.
And can you tell us about Mo Knows? What is that?
Dr. Mo Knows. So that's my chiropractic neuroscience organization. And essentially 2 ways people learn with me is through my main chiropractic neuroscience training program, which is we meet once a month, do a live class for 2 hours with an interactive Q&A. And that's super fun. We even have CE. And the other is my Dr. Mo Knows chiropractic research review. So again, every month you get a new research article that breaks it all down for you into like the key points, as well as clinical integration and patient education. So literally scripts. I said I would never do scripts, but you know what? People want them. And so that's really fun. Those are my 2 main ways that people can study with me, and they can find all that on my website.
And another person that we have in common is Molly Cahill, who is just a light in this world. And I see that you guys are doing some fantastic stuff on Instagram. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, Molly and I just did this amazing collab where she took my research reviews and turned them into, what do you call that?
A reel.
Turn them into, what do you call it when you edit, like when you can edit them? Anyway, she took all my research reviews and she turned them into content for Instagram that you can brand, drop your own information in. But we've done all of these carousels and real scripting. Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah.
So I do want to go to, I have a wand on my desk and I'm just playing with it while we're talking. I do want to go to, you and I will both be at ChiroFest. And
oh yeah.
I'd like to hear you talk a little bit about ChiroFest, just to kind of get people aware of what's happening in Washington State next month.
Well, it's amazing. You know, all of us who used to go to Cal Jam with Billy D down in California, and if that's the vibe you like, it's what's happening at ChiroFest. Lots of incredible speakers and vendors and just this network of people that is a supercharged weekend. So that's coming up in about a
month and a half. I think Paul sent an email out today. It's in like 48 days or something like that.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to tell the people who are listening in the future or right now with us live? What do you want to do?
I think maybe I would say, if you are struggling, and I know lots of people, you know, we all struggle at some point in our life, you're not alone, and find a good mentor. And that doesn't necessarily even have to be a paid coach, although it could be. Just find people that you respect, that maybe you look up to, and just, you know, bug them, follow them.
Give it a try, even if you don't think it's going to work.
Yeah.
I love what you're saying. I'm going to say one more thing. When I was 19, I got sober, and at that time I couldn't speak in complete sentences. I was a mess. And I found this group of women who were like 20 years older than me. Mm. And I did everything that they told me to do. I made my bed every day. I prayed out loud every day. I had no belief in the things that they were telling me to do. And they kept saying, sweetheart, if you do it, you'll come to understand why. Just trust us. Yeah. So if we can all find, and here we are 34 years later, right? If we can all find a group of women or a group of people or a group of people in our profession, whatever it is, to emulate and learn from, I think we're good. And I think that you're a really good person to have in that circle. So thank you for being on my podcast.
Thanks, Jody. Super excited to chat with you today. I know that we could probably talk for hours and hours about Sue, and probably will when we see each other again.
I can't wait. I'll see you at ChiroFest. And guys, if you're listening, go make the world better with great care. You certainly have a few more tips to do that. Dr. Mo, please stay on the podcast with me. I'm going to end the live stream. Thanks for listening, guys.